Hello everyone, this is just going to be a quick guide on how to manage your Chocobo out in the field, and of course, let's jump right into it. So before we begin, ways to increase the amount of experience that your bird will get. The best way is to probably, by far, the most effective way is to use your Bosom Buddies 1 and 2. Your 1 and 2 they're going to give you a excessive amount of experience. My bird is maxed out, so I can't really see the amount of experience that it gives you, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhere between 5 to like 15%, which is a gigantic amount of your current level, of your bird's current rank. I mean, obviously I could be wrong, but it's still a very large number, somewhere in between like the hundred thousands. It's very effective. You can do this, I believe, weekly and I think daily. I'm not entirely too sure. You guys should check it out. So pretty much go to your challenge log, which is under your logs. Go straight down to challenge logs, and then click on the battle category. Go scroll down, and you should see your Bosom Buddies 1 and 2. Just make sure you do those whenever they are available. If they're already, if they're done, just go ahead and wait till the next time you're able to do them. The next way to more efficient way to increase your bird's experience is obviously through your bird's stable back in your house, but obviously not everybody has a house, so go ahead and use the ones in the FC. You can use those every hour, so that's going to give you roughly anywhere between I believe it's 0.5%. It's a very small amount, but you know that grows exponentially if you do it 3 or 4 times every day. And of course, if you have someone dedicated to do that stuff, I used to do that for my old FC, that can greatly increase your bird's experience. The next one is probably going to be the minor stuff, but I used to use, where's this? I used to use the Curiel roots. This that will increase your bird's experience by 10%. And if you keep using it on them and you use this to actually summon them, it'll actually go up to 15%. I think I mentioned that in the casual guide. And then lastly, probably the most not effective way to use it, but you do have a FC buff that will increase the experience points by 10%, but that doesn't show up all too often, unless of course you make an attempt to basically make it so your FC gives you a certain time frame. Maybe they actually do that on their own anyways. But of course, before we move on, like I mentioned before in the Filthy Casual Guide, do not grind mobs. I repeat, do not grind mobs. I tried doing this myself back in A Realm Reborn as a white mage, killing like level 35 or 40 mobs, pretty damn close, basically spamming holy over and over and over again. And it took me, no kidding, this is no joke, this is serious, I don't want you guys to go through this. It took me 3 hours of spamming holy on upwards of like 12 mobs per holy spam. I think my bird only got 6% in 3 hours. So, yeah, I mean, you heard it here. Just don't make the same mistake I did. Oh, so we are out here in the field. I think we're in Colusia. Yeah, so this is the upper sections of Colusia. This is like the mid 75 towards like the higher near 80s. We're just going to summon our bird here. I mostly just use Gizmo Greens. They are the cheapest way to summon your bird. You can do it once, and then you can do it twice to maximize the timer up to an hour. So we're just going to talk about the actual companion abilities. So the bird is set to follow. You don't need to actually do anything else. It has 4 stances. So the first one is free stance. I highly recommend you guys have your free stance on an actual shortcut if you do plan to grind a lot of fates. If you don't plan to grind a lot of fates, or at least do map parties, those are fine as well. The next one is the Defender Stance, or the Defender Stance. This is pretty much trash unless you're playing a healer, and you might want to stop DPSing because your bird will lose aggro really quick. It's not like how it was back in A Realm Reborn through Stormblood, where you had aggro mitigation tools to basically remove aggro from yourself, unless you were playing the tank, of course. So this is pretty much useless. Don't bother messing with this. Your bird will lose aggro quickly. The healer stance is by far the second and probably the most important stance, unless you're focusing your bird on doing damage or tanking in terms of skills. So this is by far one of the more important abilities. We're going to set this guy right here on G, and then we'll set the free stance on this empty one. So for the most part, I just want to land, and these guys are 78, so I'm 78 Bard as well. So I'm going to put my bird on free stance. What free stance does is the bird will basically just go straight for whatever I'm attacking, and they will basically steady their position on whatever the location on the target is. So as you notice there, he goes straight for the target, and then I can basically position myself here on the opposite side. So if the target is going to attack, it's going to be either one of us. So by placing the bird on healer stance, however, the bird follows my location. Now we're both under the attack pattern. So what I'm doing here is I'm swapping between free stance, placing myself behind the target, so I can actually land my positionals, or just be in safety away from the enemy's telegraph abilities. So it's pretty simple, straightforward. This is just a way for you to be more efficient out in the field. Don't worry if your bird dies, you can just resummon them again. Especially if you're doing B-ranked, solo B-ranks, which I still don't recommend doing. I don't think they're even available, but I'm pretty sure they still have solo B-ranks in a Realm Reborn or Heavensward field content. So that's pretty much a take into the actual Chocobo and how to use it out on the field. Now the abilities are basically there for your bird to gain as you level up. Obviously you can put the abilities into the Chocobo manually, which you should do. The first thing you want to prioritize, just like I explained in my previous guide, the Filthy Casual guide, you want to go healer. Every single time you want to go healer. The healer bird is definitely a way. It's not going to save you 100% of the time, but it will keep you afloat. There's plenty of memes out there where the bird tries to heal you and then it fails miserably, but that's generally how it is. The healing abilities for the bird is pretty straightforward. He puts a regen on you, and then hopefully that saves you. But you want that healing regen, and then you want the bird to also focus on attack. Don't worry too much about defender. They're going to try to basically, I'm just going to show you here, guys. So this is going to be the defender. Let's see, put the defender on instead of free stance, so let's put the bird on defend, and now we're going to actually initiate. So let's put the bird on defend. He's going to try to grab aggro from me, and I'm just using normal basic abilities. Let's toss another off global. Let's toss one of those. So I'm starting to get aggro back, as you can see here. Of course, if these were actually like harder mobs and they didn't have all the physical vulnerabilities, and they would have more health, especially like a boss from a Fate, you would grab aggro. But at least the aggro would float back and forth between you and the Chocobo. So this is a normal Fate. Let's go ahead and kill some mobs. We're going to set our bird to defend. So I'm not really following in the rotation. I'm basically just doing what I can and minimalistic. So he's defending, so typically focused on a single target. Your bird has by no meaning any way to grab aggro from multiple targets. Try not to do that, just try to focus on whatever the bird is attacking. So I'm surrounded by multiple mobs here. As you can see, he's going to keep focusing on that, so I'm going to focus on another target here. I'm by no meaning actually trying to play Bard well. I'm just trying to do a decent amount of damage. Hopefully not die, so I should be fine. Let's go ahead and put my bird back to healer stance, so he should come to my position, try to heal me. There's also another target behind him, so I should be fine. As soon as he puts regen on me, I'm going to set him to defend. Let's try to get this off then. Okay, so he healed me. That's good enough. Let's set him back to defender stance. I'm not dead. That's the whole point of this. Put another song up. We got another mob around us. Okay, let's go ahead and kill this one. I'm gonna back him off so he doesn't completely get destroyed by the frog there. Whatever that is. Gecko. Let's put dots on it again. Don't protect your bird. The bird's movement is very clunky. He will try to follow you. He will try to basically do everything he can to make sure that he follows your rules exactly to the letter. Sometimes he might get in the way of telegraphs, but that is the coding behind the bird. I wish you were able to move this guy manually, place it around like you were able to do with the pets from the summoner and the scholar, but unfortunately you cannot do that any longer, and you were never able to do anything with the bird anyway. So that was pretty good with the guide. Obviously the better one is definitely the free stance. The defender stance is mostly there for you to toggle between a single target, which is more specifically towards bosses. So instead of this, we're going to just have the free stance. Now obviously if you're running a dungeon or a raid encounter, this stuff is pretty much non-existent because you can't actually run your bird into the duty finder. And as always, you guys have a good one, and we'll see you next time.